Great to have you join us today. Let's get you to the price action on Coinbase, which has now become the first crypto exchange to go public in a direct listing. Shares finishing up around 30% to settle at $328 in a very choppy Nasdaq session, giving the platform a valuation of about $86 billion. Bitcoin and Ether, which are the two main digital currencies traded on Coinbase, also getting a boost here. Analysts say the listing gives the crypto space more mainstream acceptance, but it also increases the chances of more regulatory scrutiny. Speaking to CNBC, CEO Brian Armstrong saying Coinbase is in a category of its own.
Especially now that Coinbase is a public company, we're going to increasingly be having scrutiny about what we're doing, and people want to understand the implications of it. And so we're very happy to engage, just as we have been over the last 9 years, really, since the start of the company, with everybody in DC and really lawmakers, policy folks around the world, because of course Coinbase is in many different countries now, about how we can most thoughtfully build this industry and this company.
Kevin Kelly is Global Head of Macro Strategy at Delphi Digital, joining us now from New York. Overnight, the Fed Chair, Jay Powell, saying that crypto is a vehicle for speculation. Is he right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly you can make the argument that Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market is ripe for speculation, right? And I think with any new emerging technology and any new emerging asset class, that's typically what you'd expect. I mean, I do think, as you guys mentioned, kind of at the top here, that the Coinbase direct listing certainly adds a lot of credibility to this market, especially among kind of your institutional or more kind of traditional investor crowd. But certainly, I mean, there is a lot of speculative activity that happens not only within the crypto market, but certainly surrounding Bitcoin as well.
Let's talk about what's in this for investors, though. What's the spillover effect on cryptocurrencies like BTC and Ether, for example?
Yeah, I certainly think Coinbase is going to be more kind of driven by the direction of crypto and Bitcoin, and especially the kind of mega caps like Bitcoin and Ether, rather than vice versa, right? Even if you look at, there were some a couple exchanges that allowed for tracking the price of Coinbase's stock pre-IPO, and if you actually point that against Bitcoin, right, the correlation was relatively high, extremely strong over the last 60 to 90 days, right? And if you look at some of the numbers that we saw in this most recent earnings release, again, a lot of that growth is in part due to new users, but a lot of those new users are coming in because you're seeing crypto asset prices, surge and explode a bit here. So certainly think that longer term, a lot of that valuation and some of the growth that's getting baked into the valuation currently, in order for Coinbase to grow into that, it's the base case certainly has to be that Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market heads higher from here.
Okay, so you think the mainstream investor perhaps could also be using Coinbase as a crypto proxy. If you're too risk averse to get involved with those moving currencies, then you can actually use this stock as an individual trade to hedge some of those risks.
Yeah, I do. And I do think it's a really important kind of caveat, right? The thesis for investing in Coinbase and a crypto like Bitcoin are very, very different, right? Yes, that Coinbase can be, again, a directional kind of lower beta play on, let's call it the broader direction of the crypto market. But if you want to invest in something like Bitcoin, the best way, obviously, to do that is to own Bitcoin directly. I do think, though, that, again, when you think about institutional demand, when you think about the kind of lack of, and we're starting to see, a lot more competition in this space as well, but the relative dearth of compliant investment vehicles for institutions to get and put their clients into, so far we've seen a lot of pent-up demand for something like this, and this is a much purer play on the crypto market than some of these other kind of quote-unquote crypto proxies that trade in the public equity market. So again, certainly think that could be a tailwind for Coinbase, at least in the short to medium term.